All right, so now we want to continue talking about how have humans affected the planet, and now we want to talk about climate change. So what is climate change? Well, it's when the climate changes. So if it rains more, that's climate change. If it gets hotter, it's climate change. If it gets colder, it's climate change. So it's not necessarily a change in the weather, because weather is a day-to-day phenomenon. So we're talking about how does what are the weather conditions over many, many, many years. So that's going to be climate. And so I want you to note that climate change has happened in the past. So this is a picture that shows the geological history of the Earth for the past, roughly 4 billion years or so. And it shows how the climate of the Earth has sometimes been hotter than it is today, and sometimes it's been cooler. But this is climate change over millions of years. So what we're concerned about is climate change occurring over tens or hundreds of years. And if so, what is the cause of it? So we're really concerned about that the climate is getting warmer. And so this is going to be caused by, one cause for warming up the planet is going to be greenhouse gases. So let's talk about the greenhouse effect. So in the Earth's atmosphere, so here's the surface of the Earth, here's the troposphere. So up in the troposphere, you've got various kinds of gases, such as carbon dioxide and water and methane. So those three gases are called greenhouse gases because they trap heat. So that light from the sun up here is going to be in the really all different forms of radiation. However, the X-rays and the gamma rays get stopped way up here in the upper part of the atmosphere. We just finished saying that most of the ultraviolet gets stopped in the stratosphere, so that leaves us with a little bit of ultraviolet gets through, and then a visible light gets through, and then radio waves gets through. Okay, so those are the kinds of light that penetrate through our upper atmosphere, and then when it gets to the surface, it's going to hit the ground, and it makes the ground start to vibrate. So the atoms inside the ground begin to vibrate because they get energy from the sun, and then as they do it, they re-emit energy in the form of infrared light. So that infrared, which is heat, starts to rise in the atmosphere, but when it gets to these greenhouse gases, which are in the upper atmosphere, that stops them. So water, carbon dioxide, and methane are all greenhouse gases that trap infrared radiation. Now, some of it does manage to get through and goes into outer space. So the greenhouse effect is actually a good thing, because without the greenhouse effect, the surface temperature of the Earth would be much colder than what it is today. But too much of anything is a bad thing. So what we're afraid of is that we're pumping too much carbon dioxide into the atmosphere so that the climate of the Earth is slowly increasing. So that's the problem. Okay, so let's talk about, in our next segment, some other reasons for climate change.